Hello everybody, welcome to Pralines, Deliciousness from the World of Art. The protagonist of this episode is Alfredo Rapetti Mogol, born in Milan in 1961. His family is known for its creative flair. His grandfather Mariano and his father Giulio, whose pseudonym is Mogol, are writers of many of the most popular Italian songs. Thus, it's natural that Alfredo Rapetti starts to show signs of his artistic talent at a very young age. Notably, he has a deep interest in calligraphy, which also includes the history of writing systems such as Egyptian hieroglyphs and runes. His original passion for writing, inherited from his family, leads him to become the songwriter known as Keope of some of the top Italian pop singers, namely Raf, Laura Pausini, and many others. His passion for art, instead, is cultivated in secret and in parallel to the other one. What's more, the first elementary sign that has stayed deep-rooted in him since he was a child is that of his own imprint, which may subtly recall the prehistoric Cueva de las Manos in Argentina. This millennium-old work stands out as the celebration of one's own identity that searches to differentiate oneself from others. Successively, to hone his drawing skills, Rapetti decides to attend a school of cartoon. He moreover films whole canvases with colors. Anyway, for years, he has considered art making an intimate personal exercise rather than a properly creative activity. Yet, the mid-90s mark a significant shift in his career. One day, he examines the shelves of his family's own closet. It is a revelation to him. He finally creates a signature style to which he can identify himself. The artist then associates the fractures left on the wood surface to the traces of his family story. He applies colors, generally characterized by dark shades, to the surface on which he carves writing that, though conveying no clear meaning, can always evoke a vital presence. After an in-depth study, Rapetti dedicates himself to engraving writing on a layer of acrylic monochrome color that, chipped at the edge, can eventually lay bare the canvas underneath. There is no doubt that he takes inspiration from prominent artists such as Michaud, Toby, and Agostino Ferrari. However, originally, his research deals with this kind of engraved writing that, though apparently meaningless, can fully resonate with life, the living flesh wounded by personal experiences. Art, works, and life, therefore, are inextricably linked together. This said, Rapetti writes works, for example, on a soldier's blanket to underscore the idea that we are all narrators of a war fought against the adversities even the everyday life tends to conceal. He also writes works on diary pages or on music scores stained with colors. Rapetti's work, thematically concerned with life, is often embedded with transitory realities represented through leaves that disappear into thin air and leave behind an indelible memory. He utilizes colors that tend towards gray as if he intended to capture the sense of a life lost in the fog, where one may envision here and there signals that seemingly indicate a possible direction or a silent presence. Rapetti further stages some installations from which, almost inevitably, emerges the sign of the cross, the symbol of he who, according to John's Gospel, is the Word that became flesh. In the last few years, the artist concentrates on the syllables in Latin alphabet. He arranges them on canvas or on lead. He also engraves them on marble, which may be reminiscent of imperishable inscriptions seen in ancient temples. In his case, writing is an enigma which, like Gibbon's works, can take on a different meaning depending on our interpretation. And if the arrangement of the syllables at first induces us to search for a mysterious understanding, all this becomes clearer once it is restructured according to Italian syntax. Consequently, we can obtain sentences with a complete sense, like io sono io, the tautological affirmation of the necessity to assert one's identity, considered as a revisiting of Rapetti's own traces left on the canvas as a child. Or l'anima resta, an issue addressed to all that lasts eternally in spite of the transience of materials. Or a mente aperta. We can also seize the essence of our most important prayer, who art in heaven. What is in heaven, if not the word, the story, the origin of all our stories? In the end, the artist wants to say that art and life share the same rules, and that, quoting Chevrolet, life is nothing but a long song, and therefore all of its manifestations over the course of time are worth narrating. In fact, art and music can be regarded as privileged instruments man has at his disposal to win over the anguish of death and silence that surrounds him. I stop here. Thank you for listening. Don't miss the next episode of Pralines, Deliciousness from the World of Art.